everyone, I'm Kevin, otherwise known as Forum BX257, here to bring you another 1980s G.I. Joe toy review, and today I'll be taking a look at the G.I. Joe Small Battle Station playset, the 1986 Outpost Defender. Now, the Outpost Defender did not make any cartoon or comic book appearances, which is really rather unfortunate because the aesthetic which this would have blended into really nicely actually. A lot of far-flung and very realistic adventures in both the comic book and the cartoon at the time that this came out. So it's kind of a shame that it was never used. One interesting thing about the Outpost Defender is this big radio antenna, because there is no corresponding radio with this set, not even a sticker on the inside. Maybe it's an oversight, or maybe the antenna is supposed to be some type of a signal booster. The Outpost Defender, like a lot of small playsets, comes in a lot of really small parts, so I want to show you those. And especially this, as this, even though it's not meant to come apart and be put back together as part of the play pattern, as you can see, like the whole base of this is actually 5 pieces and actually goes together really well. I think I could take it apart if I really tried, but it's really well, stuck together. But the rest of the pieces are actually fairly easy just to pop off and get lost. So I just want to show you that process so you can actually see the individual parts and where they really ought to go. You also have these 3 of these columns, these hollow columns, and they're actually supposed to go solid side outwards. So when you put them in, the solid side actually fits outwards. You put the 3 down there into the slot. But then you also have this this 4th piece, which is unique, and it almost looks like it's broken, but it's actually not. It's supposed to look like this. And while you think that it would go flat side outwards, it doesn't. It actually goes this way. It just sort of fits in there. So when you put the whole roof on, it's easier just to line up this hole and the slot backwards. So you just put that on like so. And then you can just squeeze this thing in here. As a matter of fact, there's actually a little level here which goes level to the thing when this thing is on its proper angle. So you just go like that, and it'll have to stick right through. And there you go. To finish off the look of the Outpost Defender, you have 2 little items here, and this is one of the 2 pieces that it's really hard to find on the aftermarket. So you do have to be careful. On top of antennas generally being fairly hard to find on playsets and G.I. Joe vehicles, this one also has a kind of a thinner piece to the antenna. So you have to watch out that this part isn't snapped off. Quite frankly, I find the this gray plastic to be actually a tiny bit brittle, to be honest. It's very strange. It's supposed to be a flexible piece, but it's not really. And this just goes on the top here. Out of frame, of course. And finally, you have the big machine gun, which just goes onto the hole there. It's all one piece. This pintle doesn't rotate by itself or elevate. It just, once you put it into the hole, it just swivels like that. And then you have the rifle crate, which is a nice little box here with lots of faux wood detail, just like the sides here. And it has its own lid. It's actually rather a lot like the a really small version of the 1985 ammo dump. But it comes with 3 rifles, and this is the second part, which is really hard to find on the aftermarket. As these rifles look a lot like other rifles that you would get with figures, but they are actually unique to this set. Here we have a rifle that looks a lot like the 1982 and 1983 Cobra Trooper rifle. A rifle which looks a lot like the 1983 Airborne rifle. And a rifle that looks a lot like the 1982 and 1983 Grunt rifle. Their uniqueness actually comes in their color. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to put the originals right beside them. If I can actually get them all in frame here. Probably not. And on the bottoms, you can see those are the original colors. The original colors are slightly darker. As a matter of fact, if I'll just take the Airborne rifle as a good example, the bottom one being the original from the figure, the top one being from the Outpost Defender, you can see that the molding is a bit, I don't know, it's like softer or sloppier or something like that. Of course, to me, the colors are really distinctive. This one's being fairly dark. As a matter of fact, if you're confused as to which color it is and you don't have the original, just take the actual machine gun from the playset and try to color match that. They should be the exact same color. To be perfectly honest, the rifle crate doesn't have a lot of space for the rifles that are supposed to go into it. So you do have to put them in a particular way. Personally, I like trying to put them in a bit upside down. I don't know why, but I think they fit a bit better than that. And because the lid actually has these like rims, you do have to sort of make sure that the rifles aren't pointing outwards towards those rims. So when you put it on, everything goes on kind of snug like that. Because otherwise, you just sort of willy-nilly, it doesn't really want to go on any other way. One of the main appeals to the Outpost Defender is its realistic looks. And while I really like that, and I can really see that, putting a figure inside which can fully stand up is actually another really good bonus. The fact of the matter is I think it's a little too realistic at the same time. When you look at its corrugated roof and, wood panels that have little holes and chips in them, and the sandbags that are just sort of laid out almost haphazardly, it does look like an improvised build, which, like I said, is very, very realistic. It doesn't seem like a G.I. Joe outpost. When you consider at the same time, in 1986, that Cobra had the surveillance port, which was very, angular and very mechanical looking. It almost looks like these two had their sides switched. G.I. Joe should have maybe gotten the surveillance port if you colored it in green, and perhaps this Outpost Defender should have been a Cobra or even a Dreadnought ambush site. Still, it's really cool, and it makes a nice little departure from what you're used to, the sort of high-tech G.I. Joe. One thing you might want to look for on the aftermarket if you're having trouble actually completing an Outpost Defender, and admittedly, the antenna on the rifles are fairly hard to get, and if that really counts for something, you might want to actually look out for the 2009 Rise of Cobra Outpost Defender, which, while it was a Walmart exclusive and might be equally hard to get, it did have some color differences, like tan sandbags, darker wood, and slightly silvery machine gun and rifles. Still, it's the only other version of the Outpost Defender out there. Well, that's all the time I have right now. Please check out my Facebook page for more information and behind-the-scenes photos for these reviews. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for next time to see another 1980s G.I. Joe toy review. See you then.